I only had 1 year with her.
We the people in the office.
Good to have.
I don't think Franklin ever.
Good.
Yes. Next to my toolbox, and on the other side of my toolbox.
I've been too lazy to look it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to stage everything inside there, you know.
Move it in the night before.
Bikes are easy enough, you know, so yeah, get everything, so you just open the door, push the button, shut the door.
Yeah, now if we keep our doors closed, it stays pretty cool most of the day.
My shop's just really well, so you don't eat it.
Reading, changing, so the number from the number. Yeah. Just making it pain. Because every time I read it, I have to read it, copy the number to the profile, and then write that profile back. But I have to remember that I emailed this side.
Everybody good? You all set? All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see everyone. We're gonna call the meeting to order at 7:01. All right, let's see, who's in the audience here? Carter, how'd you like to lead the Pledge of Allegiance? Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, tonight we've got some topics. Schedule public hearing, local law, something. It looks like we would like to set up a public hearing so that the town board could have an opportunity to review some of the rules and regulations that apply to our planning and zoning boards as it relates to site plan review in an agricultural district, special use permits. There's some citing in our agenda today. If you had an opportunity to take a copy of the agenda and you'd like to see what these are, you can use the chapter numbers and the article numbers to go on the town website and review the town code yourself if you'd like to see what we're gonna review. We will choose to schedule a public hearing for that, and we will welcome input from the community. So that's the purpose of agenda item number 2. So do we have any questions or comments from the board on that? Have I summarized it adequately for you? I think I have an understanding of why we want to do this. And if you'd like me to elaborate, maybe that'll help the crowd. We've had a couple requests for permits and variances and some guidance from the planning board. And I don't think the process was hammered out well enough that we dotted all the i's, crossed all the t's, and some of us don't feel that has adequately resulted in a benefit or a proper hearing. We might have missed some things, we might have shortchanged some things, so rather than let that occur again, we kind of want to take a second look at that. So anybody can correct me if I'm wrong on my summary there. I think that's kind of the point here. So I'm asking a member of the board to provide a motion for this resolution, and then we'll go ahead and move ahead and we'll schedule a public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Pete.
Second.
And I hear a second down there. That was Ruth, I believe. Thank you, Ruth. All right, so we'll move on. And we'll schedule that at a future hearing. We'll put a notice in the paper. Brenda will take care of those things. And then you guys the audience or the townspeople are welcome to take note of that and come and be part of that process. Okay, on to the next item. Planning board and zoning board bylaws. We did, as a board, receive the bylaws. We reviewed those. We found there was some need to specify a little more clarity in regards to the fact that whatever the choices are and whatever the laws include, the town board remains the final authority on that. So those bylaws were sent back to the boards. They were updated, and we were asking each boards to review those, sign off on those, and get them back to us. So I don't know if we've gotten both boards to return those at this point.
Not yet, they're in process.
Okay, so-
They're working on it.
So that's an FYI at this point, so, moving on. Training requirements, certifications for town personnel. So that's something that I've gotta get a little, clarification on myself. I'm fully aware of some of our positions here at the town that require certain certifications. However, there's certainly positions in our town like our own that really don't require a certification, but we do have quite a bit of education and learning to do. So that's where we're at. Where would we like to
I mean, I
start
asked to be
this
put,
discussion?
for it to be put on because we have a lot of new members, and I wanted to make sure that the process is clear, about when you get your certification, returning your certification, you know, the evidence of it, so we can kind of keep it on file. And then, I know a lot of the there is free training, but there's also paid training. I wanna make sure everyone's aware of it, so I thought maybe we could put together like
Like
a
a
correspondence out to them, just to give them
Matrix.
some idea, the matrix, and then possibly if it's going to be over maybe, I don't know, 100, if we just got prior notice. I mean, I know there's money for the training, but just so we know, because we have so many new people,
Mhm.
it could add up all of a sudden.
And that seems to be a,
Not that, I don't think we should have to necessarily approve it, but if we at least got notice so we knew it was coming.
yeah, and what I would add is that seems to be something that's kind of like, constantly reoccurring circumstance, right?
Mhm.
With turnover and new members. And then we have this looming need to, review and create our budget for 2027. So yeah, I think we need to kind of have an idea of the room that's required for those purposes.
Yep, and I had asked, Ruth Kahn to give me some, suggestions on the different training that's available, so I did make a little bit of a list of some things that are upcoming that I can share, and then maybe we could add to it just, you know, the procedures for turning in the certificates, that way it's, people know,
Mhm.
if that's okay.
Any additional questions, comments? Do we wanna leave this in your court? Do you wanna keep carrying the ball on this, or do you want some help from anyone?
I can just send it out and see if there's anything anybody wants to add, and before I send it
All
anyway.
right,
Would that be something we put on the website as a working document, cause it's gonna be,
Ooh, good.
when this year's training is over, it's gonna be next year, so.
Then we can update
something
on
to
it.
see. Something, there's website links, there's actually, there's a link to the New York State.
It's so hard to find all of the different
Yeah,
things
it's
and then
really
sort through it.
so we'll keep this on the agenda and we'll revisit it in August, Acceptable?
Something up for-
all right, very good. Fire department recognition. I did find it very nice that the, community focus, which I think finally got completely distributed. Looks very nice. I found those bright spots very, nice and neat, and, I think that goes a long way to throw a little recognition out there to those and, bring our community up to speed with that, so I certainly applaud that. Where do we wanna go from here? Do we wanna expand that? What's your thoughts on this?
So this was another one I brought up, so, we kind of touched on whether we would do something for people as they got certifications, and we talked about possibly doing it at a board meeting. I don't know how often that occurs, whether we would want to have one meeting a year where we just did all of the new certifications that came through that year, or 2 meetings, or, but I think we should do something and have a plan. I think we brought it up kind of, you know, casually at a different meeting, and then there were some thoughts and I felt we needed to discuss it a little and make a plan.
Want to get something together on our end, and then we are meeting regularly with the 2 departments as we're trying to solve our districts and cooperation of members.
Yep.
Maybe we can offer it up to the 2 fire companies, to tune into where we are, and then maybe provide us some thoughts on their side and get the process more developed. Is that sound
And then
like
I was
a good
also
idea?
thinking, because Ruth brought up after we had discussed it in conversation about doing something to honor them, the complete units instead, you know, not just the new certifications. And so I was thinking maybe we could do something in the fall, like a community potluck or something where the town could come and support them and show their appreciation, and, you know, I could run point on it and get it organized. And
All right, so we'll treat this the same way, we'll keep it as an active agenda item, and we'll revisit it in August. And then, I don't wanna get out of sort, but I'll work with
Talk to
the
them,
two departments as we get back together for our planned meeting subsequent to the CGR report and follow up to that. And, we'll bring this back to the board in August, and we'll explain where we are, and we'll let the process to continue to unfold. Is that acceptable?
Yep.
All right. Okay, I see a note in here, looking for an executive session, related to 105F. So if that's what is on our to-do list, I would like a motion to go into executive session.
motion.
Second.
Second? All right, so sorry, folks, we're gonna step out of the room for a few minutes, and we'll be back here shortly, so don't burn the place down while we're gone.
Yeah, it really helps me. So I guess that's what we'll continue to do.
Okay.
We're all new.
Can I get a motion to close the executive session and return to the normal board meeting? Thank you, Bruce. And a second from Kevin, I think? Thank you. Okay, we're back to regular business here. Okay, I'm sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen, but we're back. We're off to item number 3 on the agenda, code office reports. So I am very pleased to report that we have a fantastic fellow named Rick Albert working in our building department as our building clerk. And in my opinion, he's doing a fantastic job. I've gotten a lot of feedback from people. They're very pleased that someone responds, someone answers the phone, someone gets back to them right away, and that someone is very personable and knowledgeable. So I've heard that numerous times. We have lost Jim Keir. Jim Keir no longer works for the county. He's taken a job with the Village of Fairport. We do have a local legend, Terry Saxby, who's filling the shoes of Jim from the county. Terry is the county code officer. He's the only one right now. They're short-staffed. And Rick has been supporting Terry here in the office considerably. Rick's taking care of the paperwork, the scheduling, fielding the phone calls and the emails. So I hate to keep talking about the poor man while he's sitting here in the waiting, in the audience, but don't let that ego keep you from getting out the door. We're very pleased with what you're doing for us. You're saving us money based on what the county would be charging us for Mr. Saxby's time. So I would say what we have in the code office right now is a win-win, and we're looking forward to that continuing. We're waiting for his window of time to close for the offering at Ontario County for a full-time code position. We do have 2 applications in my office. Right now, we'll see what happens while we're waiting for that timer to expire at the county. And then we're gonna move forward and we're gonna fill that position. So if there's any questions about the code office, you can throw them at me. Otherwise, it's taking shape, it's taking form, and we're on our way where I believe we would like to be. All right, with that, we'll move on to the town clerk report. Has everyone had a chance to take a peek at that?
I don't believe I've seen it.
Oh,
It's down there.
It's the final page of that, yep.
And when everyone's had an opportunity, if there's questions or comments, bring them forth.
Anyone else?
Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Got it? Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Very good. Okay, on to the minutes. The minutes from last board meeting, June 10th. Those went through the email system. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review those. Any comments, changes, questions, issues with the minutes? Having hearing no complaints, motion to approve the minutes, please.
I'll make the motion.
I got a first
Second.
and a second, thank you Kevin, thank you Christie, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Supervisor report, alright, so there's 2 pages, there's 2 things there, one's 2-page by the numbers. I've said this before, you can look through here and scratch your head and wonder what the heck does all these numbers mean? Basically, it just shows us where we are with volume of funds, what we've paid for, what our current balance is. We are somewhat on track, there has been some overages, but most of it's pretty standard fare. We did get the column fixed for the fire departments, so if you take a peek at that, those numbers should look more like what we're expecting. And then, the second page I gave you is what I've been doing this past month on behalf of the town. We had a nice visit, June 22nd, Assemblywoman Andrea Bailey came over and hung out for a couple hours. Christie was here that day, I think Rick got a chance to say hi to her. She, basically explained what she does and how her office might help us. She left me some forms where we can get some information. She pointed out some opportunities that are coming through in regards to some funds and some grants that we may qualify for, so it was nice to get to know her a little bit. I did sit in on the zoning board on June 23rd. I also sat in on the one last week, and our board is taking form. They're starting to figure things out and move the motions forward on their own. Our town attorney has been sitting in with them for those 2 meetings. I think he's pretty much done with that. I'm gonna make an official request that if he is to sit in on more zoning or planning board meetings, he notify us, me, and we're made aware of that, so we can anticipate any fees that may come along with that. We're trying to keep a close eye on the numbers. It's nice to see the cooperation on the board members. The old members are helping the new members. There's some bright minds there. I think they're doing a good service for our applicants, and it looked like the 2 applicants that they worked with were both very pleased with the outcomes, and we've got some new projects moving along in the community because of that. The fire companies, I had a nice meeting with both Ionia and West Bloomfield on the 24th. We had a rep here from the insurance company that works for both departments, and I have not yet, but I did send an email out to all the members that were included in the meeting with notes from the meeting, and I have a follow-up email ready to go to our town attorney and the rep for the insurance company for both departments, because what we would like to do is get together on a hold harmless agreement. So when at a scene or during training, both departments can utilize the other department's equipment, and then we're gonna develop a protocol so that we're confident that these personnel are all properly trained and qualified to do so. So that's still a work in progress. I have not scheduled a next meeting with the departments as of yet. We're gonna wait for the outcome of the email to the town attorney and Mr. Bertaglia from the insurance company. That's what I've been up to beyond the normal chaos that I can see. So, let's see, a motion to accept.
I have a question first.
Yeah,
In this top section where we have CDs and it's mostly the CDs, can we start getting the numbers on the, interest?
sure.
I'm assuming it's monthly,
Yep.
because,
I do get a monthly statement.
Yeah,
I
can
would
we
be happy
start-
to pull that number out for you and add it to a report.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that,
appreciate it.
no problem at all.
Oh, so these are just the fixed amounts, not the,
There's, no, we haven't had it.
yeah, as an.
No, I don't think I've updated anybody on, growth on either of those funds. And then the other thing that, I'd like to do, with the board's approval, we haven't got there yet. I'd like to utilize this, EPIC fund that's out there for towns to use. It's another option beyond CDs for safe investment, and that's what we're limited to at the town, is we can't can't do stocks and bonds, we can't do a money market. We have to be sure that these funds are adequately defended, insured, and we are not putting any kind of added risk out there with the monies. So, no, glad to do that. Any more questions or comments on that? All right, so I'd like a motion to approve the supervisor report.
Make a motion.
Thank you, and a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Pete. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, on to the next. Mid-year budget review. All right, so we do have this, detail of expenditures that was produced out of the Williamson software. If you've had an opportunity to look at that, there's a couple columns there. Adopted budget, modified budget, expended, remaining balance, those are really the more important columns. It basically looks like this. On the left side is, there's the number we expected. The second column is if we have made changes to that budget, which we have not. So you're gonna see a duplication in that column for the most part. If you follow those columns down, they're pretty much, the two left columns are identical. And then if you move over to the far right, the remaining balance. So any expenditures that have been brought forth to any of these particular budget items, that have been paid to date, have been backed off, and then there's a remaining balance. So you can see the intended amount on the left, where we are on the right, and let's just do the numbers. We're halfway through the year. So that right column, if we're doing it right, should be 50% of the left column. If we're not, there'll be a different number there. And that different number is gonna change based on things we didn't anticipate. Things we do anticipate should make the numbers work like I explained. So in a circumstance like higher than expected repair costs for culverts or drains, that's gonna change that remaining balance considerably. And that's where we may have to, as a town board, take a moment and do a modified budget. We need to say, you know, hey, we see that the cost of gas has gone up exorbitantly, maybe we need to make a budget modification for this. We find that, you know, a piece of equipment has gone way over budget or needed exorbitant repairs. Again, might be an area where we should be proactive and make an adjustment. We've talked about this briefly, but this is the eve of where we now have to look at it more carefully to determine our numbers for 2027. And I'm completely open to suggestions on this. Are we gonna reach out to a professional? Are we gonna embrace these numbers on our own? Are we gonna do an in-house comparison? Maybe we reach out to the NYO Association of Towns and see if they've got specialists in those fields. Maybe we can get some guidance from them, so. Any comments, questions, opinions, thoughts?
Well, I think you're right to say we should reach out to the NYOT and see what they have to offer, you know, as far as what our budget looks like, where we're going, what we need to do. It won't cost us anything to get an outside opinion.
Yeah.
And certainly, you might educate us all on, you know, how to make a better budget for next year.
No question.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll be the first one to tell the room, you know, this isn't your home checkbook.
Right.
This isn't my business checkbook, right? We try to forecast, we do a very cautious, hate to use the word guess, but we do a very cautious guess on what we think these numbers are gonna run. We look at prior years. Maybe we inflate the numbers a little bit based on what we anticipate, but then we get these left hooks with stuff we can't predict, like health insurance expense increases and fuel increases. So it's like everybody in the room, you know, the dollar needs to stretch a little farther. Right, so that's another thing I will just say is gonna be something that'll remain on our agenda as a item we'll address going forward here over the next few months until we get the budget in order, so.
So what do we do with the ones that we know are over?
We have to see why
I
they're
had a
over.
good, I had an easy time finding where we have overages. What I didn't have an easy time finding is where we're gonna adjust. And I know we can make some adjustments within the budget.
Yep, So that's what, through this process, we'll have to discuss what's caused these overages, how far over are they, and then, that term uncommitted fund balance, right? That's the money that's left in the checkbook after you pay the bills, right? We've gotta look at that uncommitted fund balance and understand that that's all the money we have for the rest of the year. Will we be able to reconcile these columns with these overages, with the amount in the uncommitted fund balance, so that we don't finish the year in the negative zone? Now, we do have resources, we do have some funds that are dedicated for purposes, we have a equipment reserve, we have a town hall reserve, so there are monies that are there, and we can borrow from ourselves and pay it back, that doesn't cost us anything. And in the worst extreme, if we're hit with the expenses that we didn't anticipate that are gonna destroy our uncommitted fund balance, then we have to reach out and borrow the money. Again, if we have to, we have to, but let's hope we don't have to. I think, we've been cautious, our previous administrations have been pretty wise and have been good stewards. So I don't think we're gonna find ourselves in a bad situation. I think we're just gonna have to be more aware of what we're spending on, why we're spending it on, and is it warranted? Those of you that got my email about legal fees, you know, there are a number of things that we can do that avoid the need to reach out to the attorney that don't cost us in legal fees. And we have to be more prudent as we move forward with the operations of the town to consider those options and not, you know, run up a big bill with an attorney to sit there and watch what doesn't need to be watched. It's agonizing when, you know, the answers are there and we're relying on an expensive person to read the answers. That's kind of, it's agonizing sometimes to watch that, but, yeah, so I'm
So
all
what do
for
we,
that.
so what do we do? Do we come up with a list? Do we go line by line and come up with a list and like, these are the ones that are, I mean, there's the ones that we're over already.
Yeah, I would say, take this detailed expenditures, review the areas where we're not on track, make your notes,
Okay,
and then let's ask the questions. Why are these expenditures there? How did they get created? What can we do in the future to mitigate those? And is there other options we can use, if we have the same circumstance reoccur, where we're now embracing, an expense to do what we need to do? I think some of those things we can probably, find a better way. Some of those things we can't, you know, the washouts, the weather-related damages, the stuff that's getting buffered by the highway department, those are areas where we can't predict that stuff, you know. Hopefully we've got some contingency plans in place, or we can formulate a contingency plan, or we can start dedicating reserve funds, right? We can establish a proper reserve, we can build that reserve over time, and that's where the growth in some of these accounts can aid us. Cause that's what we're gonna rely on it for the rest of the year, is growth and this uncommitted fund balance. We can't go out and pander for money, right?
I think for me, the biggest help for me would be is finding the lines where we have padding.
Mhm.
Cause I don't know, there are things that I don't know that, oh, that's something that's gonna get paid later. You know, that way we can start moving around within the budget, so we don't have to hit that balance for as long as possible.
A lot of our expenses, we anticipate and know what they're gonna be,
Right,
but there's gonna probably be. a
no,
handful-
and I do know there's
handful of
one
people.
that we need to reach out on, it's that Fountain Hill, it's A7110.42, that Fountain Hill Engineering and Insurance, we don't know what that is yet, and we need to get that maybe from Victor, I believe, Victor?
Under
we have
culture
an
and recreation.
It's on page 5, first one. That is an unknown of what it's going to be, and we need to know that too. I know.
It's
Yeah.
part of,
No, I don't know, I'm not saying what it is, we don't know the bill.
Right.
oh,
You budgeted for it, but we don't know what it's gonna come in at, and we don't have that yet.
There might be some information available to that I can bring to the next meeting,
Yeah.
because there was There was some information put out recently about the need to upgrade and repair the spillways, and there was some, request for input. And I don't know that our Boughton Park rep has brought back anything on that. There was a Boughton Park, minutes that came through, but there wasn't any real information.
I just picked one that we need to follow up on.
Brenda's got a comment.
I spoke to Nicole Outhouse, and she is our Boughton Park Commission rep, but the Boughton Park Commission is not involved in the spillway dam piece of it, so they're not included in that. That's what Scott Harmon was doing for the town board. It's actually the town board reps that have the information, and are working with the engineers, and Victor is the lead on that.
Sound Victor?
Yeah.
I would be more than happy to put an email out to Victor in East Bloomfield and ask for some answers on that, and I would copy all you in on that. I'm more than happy to do that. All right, so we'll keep the budget review as an agenda item, and I'll look for some comments and feedback from each board member in August, and we'll move ahead with identifying and determining the overages, and then we'll hopefully compile enough comments and ideas to focus on additional items that need further investigation.
Is this a PDF that you have as well?
Yeah,
Could you email it?
absolutely,
Thank
sure.
you.
Is she talking about this?
The detailed
You already
expenditures,
sent- I
yes.
sent you already.
I'm gonna have to get a different email for the town board.
That's okay.
So many,
I'll-
I'll go through it.
I'll make sure if you don't have it, I'll send you a.
I'm sure I
a
have
second
it,
copy.
I'm sure.
No problem. All right,
I-
so if we're good with the budget review and where we're headed with that, I don't need a motion, we'll just keep that on the agenda. We'll move on to the justice report. So there should have been justice report circulated.
It's made it back to Brendan.
Okay, so if we got questions or comments, now's your chance. If none, we'll ask for a motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Bruce. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. All right, on to the bills, the vouchers. There's another pile of stuff that comes through here, so if you've had a chance to look at those and sign off on those, I would like a motion to approve paying the bills.
Motion to approve?
Second.
And Pete, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye. Okay. Jeff Ball is on vacation this week, so I don't expect him here for either park and recreation or the highway report. There was a highway report that made it through our
Yes.
process, hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. Parks and recreation. So it looks like we got some big trees. Now, that's the pathway that extends from 5 and 20 to the park, adjacent to the Holdsworth residence and Fort Cornelius, I believe, in between there. So, we need to chase down some service companies and some prices on what it's gonna take to get those out of there.
Jeff was supposed to
Right.
get a bid for a day rate, so we just need to get on that.
Alright, so I'll move that along. I will send Jeff a note. I'm not gonna do that till the end of the day Friday to respect his week off. And, I am here on Friday. I'll send an email off to him and I'll ask him for a follow-up and a status report on the tree issue on the pathway, between Proudy Park and routes 5 and 20, between the Holdsworths and the Cornelius residents.
Maybe specifically ask if we can try to get a quote for the next board meeting, if possible.
Okay, well, or very least an answer for the adjacent property owners?
Yeah.
Okay,
And which budget line are we gonna take that out of?
I think,
Parks and Rec.
yeah, no, I think there is a line for that specifically here.
Something under parks, right?
In fact, I'm sure there is a line for that. Parks, equipment, contractual. So we have a column for that, whether or not we are prepared for an expense of that size, I don't have an answer for that right now. But I can certainly, see where we are, ask them to move it along and get some numbers, and we can bring that back to the next, August meeting, and we can put it through the committee, the board. I'm okay with that.
So with the phone,
All right, so let's move on, let's mark off item 10 on the agenda, we'll move on to the highway report. So it looks like this month, we're gonna close Wesley Road down to a single lane. And we're waiting for results from the grant update to know if it's been completed and if and when we can expect reimbursement for that. Other than that, is there any questions about the highway report?
well, the first thing on there, he's got road repairs from Tapton Wesley due to manure truck damage. Is the town on the hook for the manure truck damage?
Yeah, that's been fixed, been repaired. There was a couple of areas of the shoulder between, Wesley and Sand on the west side that, weren't real thick, and apparently this constant back and forth by the trucks.
So it wasn't an accident per se, it's just overuse.
Wear and tear, yeah,
Okay.
a lot of road use. I did have a conversation with Mr. Muller and asked him to try to use more than one road. They do, if anybody in the room can tell you, they've been driving
Oh, I know, they don't have a check all
gangbusters,
day long.
chopping silage, and, I followed a guy down to Hewitt Road and had a nice conversation with him about his Jake brake. And said if I hear it after 5 PM or on the weekends, I'm turning his license plate number into the police. I was very polite, I understood that he's got a job to do, but I also asked him to understand that we have residents that have made complaints, and at 5:30, they'd like to enjoy their dinner. Not here. And he gave me a little pushback, and I said, you drive by my house 100 times a day. That's how I knew which truck it was. So, yeah, I fielded a couple complaints from some of our neighbors, and I took action on myself. So anyhow,
Oh, could you add to the email, can you ask them if he followed up with North Bloomfield Cemetery about their
sure.
gravel? What did I say?
No, you didn't say anything, I'm just assuming you pick it up.
Email.
Because it's a random person, but it's the joke.
Got it.
Then,
So, back to the highway report. Any questions, comments beyond,
what we already,
Taft and Wesley Road? Motion to approve.
motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Pete. Or, I'm sorry, Kevin.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nope, we're good. All right, page 2, resolution. I gotta read the whole thing, sorry folks. Whereas, among other methods, the town receiver of taxes accepts payment of real property taxes in cash if the payment is made in person at town hall, and whereas the town receiver of taxes cannot accept less than full payment of the tax bill, and whereas real property tax bills are rarely whole numbers and often have cents associated with the amount, and whereas the federal government has stopped minting pennies, meaning eventually pennies will no longer be available and the town will not be able to provide exact change to those property owners paying in cash, and now therefore be it resolved, anyone paying their real property taxes in cash must pay the exact amount of the tax bill to the 100th of a dollar, and the town receiver of taxes shall not accept a different amount. So, now's your chance to give me some feedback on that. And if there's no feedback, I'd like a motion to approve.
I make the motion.
I got Pete and Ruth.
Oh, no,
Oh, no, Christie, all right, Pete and Christie, thank you. Any more comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, it's unanimous, right down to the dollar. Okay, resolution 13. Approval of acquisition of an easement by the Monroe County Water Authority pursuant to section 1096, subsection 6-A of New York's Public Authorities Law, whereas the Monroe County Water Authority intends to provide public water service to State Route 65 and 2307 Olmsted Road located in the town of West Bloomfield, and whereas the acquisition of the easement is necessary for operation, maintenance, and the future replacement of the water main, which will allow the authority to continue to reliably provide potable water supply to the area, and whereas the easement is located along the frontage of State Route 65, tax account number 65.00-1-19-111, which is owned by Simple Self Storage LLC, and whereas the easement is located along the frontage of 2307 Olmsted Road, tax account number 65-1-84.3, which is owned by Stephen J. Nichols and Sandra J. L. Nichols, and whereas section 1096, subsection 6-A of the New York Public Authorities Law requires the authority to obtain the prior approval of the town board for the above referenced acquisition, now therefore be it resolved that the town hereby approves the authority's acquisition of the frontage easement located at State Route 65 and 2307 Olmsted Road in accordance with section 1096, subsection 6-A of the New York Public Authorities Law, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be provided to the authority. I'd like a motion to approve, please. Thank you, Ruth. A second. Thank you, Pete. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okey dokey, I didn't hear any names. All right, and the wonderful public comment time. I will forego reading the rules if we have a civil group that's willing to understand the rules of public comment time. And I will open the floor for public comment time. Anybody that would like to comment, please come on up to the lectern, state your name and address, and have at it.
It's on first.
I have to stand here, that's part of the rules, right?
That's part of the rules. Welcome.
And fill out your name here, that's part of the rules too?
Yeah, put your name down and tell us who you are and where you live and all those wonderful things. You can abbreviate. We're good.
I did, I shortened it up a lot. I will start with, thank you in advance for, I'm Steve Holsworth, by the way. I live at 9080 State Route 5 and 20 at the other end of the park. So I'll thank you in advance for taking those trees down some one of these days instead of the wind. They're gonna ruin the perfect and nice addition I have on my house. And I don't wanna see that happen. So, I know Jeff, I think, brought it up maybe a year ago, so I think it's in the works and stuff like that, so that would be great. Apparently back in, we just looked up minutes and stuff, and this was longer ago than I thought, but anyway, in September of '23, apparently I came here and talked about the traffic issues on 5 and 20, primarily in front of my house, because that's what I care about. If Mr. Sheehan wants to come over and lecture the Jake Break people, then he's more than welcome to. I have, actually, I just thought of it tonight too, I have a new concern about that issue too, is in front of my house, the entry lane for the highway ends before my house, and yet they drag race by my house all the time. Well, the Amish I know have been going clippity-clop down the side of the road right there in front of my house, so one of these days they're gonna steamroll over the top of them, because they're just on horses, or wagons and horses and stuff. So I think it adds a new problem to the, or issue to the problem, because I hear the Amish are moving south, down south of the town there and stuff, and building houses and stuff, or whatever they're doing. But I do notice there's traffic of them coming by with the horses and stuff. I came here in '23, as far as I can tell, I haven't seen any change, nothing has changed. We called, Deb and I called, my wife Deb, called the police, I think we called the troopers, not 100% sure, and the troopers, to try to complain. They sort of wrote me off as, the same sheriffs have to watch over West Bloomfield, they watch over Naples, so well, obviously they'd rather spend their time in Naples than picking grapes, I guess, or something, than in West Bloomfield. But the traffic has gotten, I mean, I've been there for 40 years, and the traffic just gets worse and worse and worse. They're driving like maniacs in front of the house. I know the Jake breaks are a problem in front of my house. I know they gotta be a problem for the traffic coming north on 37, in front of the town barns there and stuff. They gotta be jaking down through there, I'm sure. If they make it through that light heading west, they've gotta be doing 50, 60 miles an hour when they hit Kevin's house. That's not actually hit house, but when they go by the house. And, you know, I think it creates problems for people like the Dollar General store there, whatever it's called. I mean, cars are going by there so fast, they're not gonna stop and buy anything, because they're gonna be way by it before they figure it out, so. I guess that's about the end of it, I guess, just to know that we really need to do something about the traffic. And I mean, if cops can sit every single day, you can't drive into Avon without going by a cop, you can't drive into Bloomfield without going by cops. So I don't understand why they can't sit here somewhere. I mean, if they sat at the post office every day or every other day down there, they would be definitely coming down that hill slower, I'm sure. So, I don't know. But anyway, that's all I got. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
It's a good reason to speak up.
Stephen, just to let you know, the supervisor, last supervisor, I believe, did have a conversation with DOT, and they looked into it, and in their wonderful wisdom, you know, they said there was no warranted speed change at this time. So that's about all you get from them. I would love to see a reduction in speed. I have the same issues you're describing. Maybe we can keep that pressure up. Obviously, it's not a town road, so we can't just enact something. But,
Well, and maybe if they just, you know, sat here once in a while or
Yep.
whatever, and that goes to the, you know, that also goes to the park. They're in the park at night.
yes,
The people are, you know, and it drives me nuts when they're in there, you know, they come in, they wait for the dusk to dawn light or the motion light to go off, and they sit there till it goes off.
and that is something we could speak with the county on, Tim, and have increased
Yeah.
patrols.
Yep. Yeah, so they should pull in there once in a while. In fact, we were having the meeting, I was watching the kids over climbing in the rafters of the pavilion over there, actually until their parents came and got them.
Yeah.
So,
Someone gets hurt, yeah.
there was,
What went up?
oh yeah, and I don't know if you know anything about it, but they were out there
Monday?
in the intersection on Monday putting up some poles with, it appears to be cameras looking at the intersection, so I don't know if anybody has touched base with you people about that or not.
At the light here?
Yeah, there's one right across from my house. They attached it to the American Legion sign and they put them up, and they look like hunting hunting cameras or something like that. And they're up about 15 feet. So there's one, as far as I can tell, there's two on the west side of the intersection, one across from your house, and then one on the other side of the intersection, on the south side, on the south.
Could be a traffic.
Give me an email.
What's that?
Give me your email.
Yep.
I'll follow up. I will make some requests and I'll CC you.
Counting cars, maybe.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's some big program in the city of Rochester where I think they're trying to get people's opinion on cameras or something, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems like it's a long ways from Rochester though.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Anyone else? Second call, public comment time, now's your chance. All right, if I don't have any other takers, we'll close public comment time. And if there's no other business, on the part of the board, I will ask for a motion to
Motion to
call it a
adjourn.
night. Very good, there's one.
Second.
Ruth, all in favor? Aye, our meeting is adjourned. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.